Are we?
I am live. We are all live. Thank you everyone for joining us. Apologies we don't have our usual intro because we messed something up in the background. But thank you so much everyone for joining us, which will be an incredible show because of these incredible guests and you, our viewers. And already the super chats coming. I will weave those in. But before we do, please forgive me. I have almost lost my voice. Had a pretty mad one last night, but I'll be danked out. My first cup of the tea. I haven't slept in 24 hours. Asa's going to carry the show. Asa, thank you so much for joining and hosting, and I will not say anything. Please run away with it.
That's outrageous. You're doing that because you know full well that there's like not that many topics this week and you are bottling it. I'm not having it. Any other week, if there was like a well-structured show and a ton of things to talk about, I'd say, yeah, guys, you sleep in the corner and we'll have a good show this week. No, I mean, well, and I'll do it. But no, you're gonna have to scrape that barrel and find some things. And I say that there's always loads to talk about. I managed to do on a Thursday, I do my own little show, and I managed to talk for like over 2 hours. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great one. We've always got loads to talk about with Erica and Josh and everyone that's here. So let's get on with it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And of course, we'll have loads to talk about. How could we not, especially with these guests and quite interesting topical issues as well. When we're not always heavily relying on big news because there's a lot in the gaming space we can discuss, and we'll get into one of those topics today. Before we get into the topics, though, let me introduce these two lovely returning guests. Which one should I start with? Everyone that. Anytime someone smiles the most, that's just an instant boom. Erica for the win. How are you?
The smile got me first. It got me to go first.
Yep.
Hi, I'm here again. What is this, like the 20th time? No, it's been a while.
You're part of the team now.
I always love coming on as long as I'm able to. You know, you guys are great, and I'm excited to talk about whatever. I know there's not a lot of topics, but we'll make it work. I know we're gonna have a good time. So yeah.
Absolutely. And we will get saucy. Don't worry about the topics because we will get saucy. And we're already in the green room alluding to some things, especially this last gentleman from Quest Mode Games, Josh, blesses us, not braces us, blesses us with his presence. How are you, man?
I am doing well. I'll brace or bless whatever I can provide. I'm here for it. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. Whenever I see either you or Asa shoot me a DM, it's always nice because it's so far every time it's resulted on me being on the show, and I love being here. So glad to talk games. And there's always a lot going on, whether or not it's a quiet time or whatever. There's always stuff to talk about. So excited to get into it today. I'll bring the sauce if I can manage.
You will always bring the sauce. I have no doubts about that. Thank you everyone in chat, and for the 140 people already watching, please smash that like button. We are going to get into it. As you can probably guess from the thumbnail for this show, Cuphead features quite prominently because after a very, very long time, I mean, how long is it? 3-4 years since we saw the first when the Cuphead released? When did it release?
2017.
2017. Damn, 5 years.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's been a long time, and that's the one game that's been the bane of my existence. I like to think I'm good at games, but that game pisses me off like no other. And I started the DLC today, and I picked the new character who doesn't shoot. You just have to dodge, and it's so infuriating, and I just refuse to pick someone else. But that's just me blurting about Cuphead. The DLC is live. The delicious last course. What an incredible looking game when it was first revealed, and still to this day it so just catches your eye. And immediately from playing the game, a very, very, very brief playthrough just before I start the show, the art style carries over still. The difficulty carries over still, the charm carries over still, and now you see on screen they're doing other bits with claymation in the game. Erica for the win is a beast in this game. She has completed Cuphead multiple times, she says, and she says anyone who struggles at this game is a piece of
Hey, that was behind the scenes. I was supposed to say there, okay? No, I did not say that. I have beat the game though a few times. Yes.
And tell us, what are you feeling with this game? Does it live up to why do you like Cuphead? Because is it because you like difficult games? Because this is one of the first things when we ever met, when I was looking or vetting you as a guest, it was you and your difficulty in games and Soulborne stuff. Is that what it is about Cuphead? The difficulty?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with it. Just kind of like overcoming the odds and learning each phase, because every boss has phases, right? You have like the first phase, and then you learn that, and the second, the third, and you beat it. Especially like on stream, I love playing games.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like that. I know it can be stressful. Some people were saying, because I'm expecting, right? They're like, "Oh, you trying to go into like early labor with this game?" Because they know it's stressful. It can.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a different kind of stress. Like some people want to compare it to maybe like Souls games and things like that, and it's like, no, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be frustrating. But I enjoy it. Like you said, beautiful game. I mean, we could be 20 years into the future. It's still going to look gorgeous. It's timeless art style and graphics. And so
very
it's just
ancient as well. Well, relatively quite old.
Blast from the past. Yeah. And it's just beautiful to look at. So I'm always impressed, even when I'm just playing the same boss over and over. Sometimes I just look at it again. Like after the 20th attempt, I'm like, this thing is gorgeous. Like it just constantly impresses me and it keeps me going. Keeps me motivated. Yeah.
The visuals are pretty. I couldn't believe it. This was a very long, like you say, 5 years ago, but it was revealed a few years before that. And this is one of those indie reels, just instantly blown away by the art style. I mean, no one does it in the AAA space like this. Hand-drawn art, even a still like that would be amazing. Animated, amazing. To make it into a game is just a genius idea. Josh, I know you're not a Cuphead fan, but even you probably or presumably appreciate this game. And if you're not a Cuphead fan, why are you not? Why have you even tried it, the game?
It's a weird one because I own Cuphead. I bought it like a year ago when it was on sale or something, and it actually is right up my alley. Like, I love a challenge. I know that this, like we were just saying, it's not really comparable to the Soulsborne games, but I do love those games for the challenge. I love a good shooter or bullet hell game, which I don't know if that's what people would describe Cuphead as, but it looks like it's for me. So why I haven't played it yet, I really have no good reason. It is amazing looking, and like as I was listening, it reminded me of like so Cuphead's basically like a boss rush, right? I mean, I know there are levels, but like I love that feeling when I'm playing a game with tough bosses, and you get to that point where you're like, I think I'm going to do it this time. I think I'm going to beat this boss, and it like gets your heart racing. Like I've thought many times that it's kind of like a cardio workout. I don't really work out. I do not at the gym, but
it kind of is. It's a mental workout. It's mental.
Yeah. That's the feeling that I imagine Cuphead would give me if I gave it a shot. So, and yeah, it's gorgeous. Actually, just not maybe a week ago, I was watching the I think it was the Game Awards where they did a presentation for the Delicious Last Course, and I was just like blown away by how it looks. So there's really no good reason for me not to have played this game. It probably is for me, but the other thing right now is I'm still coming off my Elden Ring playthrough, which was 180 hours, and I got kind of burnt out on it, to be honest, and I'm just like, I'm not ready for another challenge. I just need something chill.
More chill,
probably for the rest of the year, to be honest.
Don't blame you there. Erica's gameplay, your gameplay is up on the screen right now. You're pretty sick at this game.
I just noticed you're exposing me. This was last night. I have the same shirt on. So I was like, damn, because I was thinking like, I should change my shirt. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know from the stream. This man plays it on stream. No, I think this is when I beat this boss. That boss actually gave me a lot of trouble. for a while. Yeah.
You
so
are doing pretty sickly, although in that right now, people watching and
oh no,
on
I am
Spotify.
dying on screen. Yeah, I did die a lot.
She died.
You die a lot.
Spotify
in this
listeners,
game.
she just died on screen.
Yeah, like you're gonna die a lot. That's of course that's like with any challenging game. Like you know how it goes. It takes time to learn because you don't know what's coming, and then you start to get the rhythm. And I would say, yeah, if you are trying to take a break from challenging games, just in general, maybe play something else and come to this. But I also think it is a good palate cleanser because it's not a long game like Elden Ring. It's not an open world. It's not leveling up. You just get in there and die, but you're immediately back in, and it's just constant satisfaction. Like you don't have to grind to get there or go through this crazy something else to get there. It's like nope, you're right back in. So and it is different.
That's the bloody crack factor of this game. Not only does it, I just before came. Do you know one of the reasons we're late, people, is because I was like, one more, and that's when you die. This is such an ingenious thing that they have. It tells you your progress of how far you were from completing the game, like the level, like on a sliding scale, and it's so clever. Yeah, it's like, so close. I have to do one more. And I'm stuck on a roller coaster level. It's so annoying. I will play it now. After playing this, I'm like, this is one of those guilty things that's niggling in the back of my head. Like, I need to complete this game, otherwise I'm not going to rest easy. And now I don't know. I've got backlog, not as big as Acer's though, because he's got VR to contend with. But Acer, for flat pancake games, do you think is this up your alley?
Pancake games.
I don't know. I can't figure out if it is or isn't, and I haven't tried it yet. I've been intending to, like, since it came out, or probably like the DLC took a long time to actually come out from when they started talking about it. The actual game had a similar development cycle where it was hyped and anticipated for years and years and delayed and stretched out. And when it finally came out, I don't know, I'm watching Erica's gameplay and I still can't decide if this looks like something I would have any fun with or not, or if I would absolutely hate it. Like, it's stylish and cool and it might be fun. I should play it. That's the only way I'm going to find out. I'll add it to the list. It's going to move up a few slots in the backlog from like 8,000th to somewhere in the top 100.
What's the price on the DLC on the Delicious Last Course?
I believe $8. $7.99.
Yeah, that's dirt cheap for something as good as I hear this is. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like a work of art. I've paid for art that's just not as good. Like, you can get a still of that. It's just moving art to me. I mean, it's subjective, of course.
It really is, though. It's
does it respawn you, like, when you die? Do you respawn very close to where you die, or do you have to redo parts of the level?
You're just starting. It's starting that level over, like, exactly at the beginning.
You have 3 lives, and then you you get hit 3. If you get a hit, you have a blink as a moment of invincibility, and then die, and then you get the hit with this screen that says you were this far from completing and retry back again.
Yeah, because that's something that can.
I'm not showing it on screen at the moment, but I've still got Erica's gameplay running on mine, and I just saw she respawned, got hit fairly early, and just noped it. Went, no, restart this. Not getting hit in this phase.
You could retry. You could retry any time. So if you have like a horrible start, you'd be like, nope, this ain't it, and you just hit that retry, and boom, you just restart it. Yeah, so you could do that.
Yeah, Josh, you might find like it's not a different kind of difficult. I agree with Erica. It might be something you just might find cathartic.
Like, I mean, I definitely don't mind a challenge. I mean, I like a good challenge, but if a game punishes you by making you do stuff over again, that can get to me. Like, that's why I didn't ever beat Hollow Knight, is because I felt like I had to just redo parts of that game over again that I wasn't enjoying. But like, that's why I think Elden Ring was like one of my favorite Soulsborne games, is because I wasn't redoing as much of that game as I had to. Or Celeste is another one that it was like a pretty ridiculously tough game, but the respawns were just instant, and it didn't send you way back to redo stuff. But, I should definitely try Cuphead. I kind of owe it to myself for the type of games that I like.
I was just gonna say, this is more in line with Celeste. you're just right back in it. Hollow Knight to me is one of the hardest Soulsborne. So I'm with you on that.
That's a hard ass game.
It's really hard. Yeah, I don't think it's on that level. Cuphead is just very in and out. You just constantly get back in there, and it's addicting in a way. Yeah.
Is Colt here? Oh, Colt is here. I couldn't see where people saying hi, Colt in chat. Hi, everyone in chat. Peter, Purple, all of you in chat. Rims, all of you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I try to multitask, but I'd love to say hi to everyone, including everyone who was arguing with me in my last video. I guess we could talk about that as well. No, do we need to? It's going to be me just shitting on people's comments, but let me read these super chats. Hi, Infinite. Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. Let me read the super chats. Flame, thank you so much for being a member for 4 months. He goes, if 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 and 2 is 4, why won't Gaz tell us when his birthday is? Do I have to send pictures to his DMs? Anyway, have a great show, fellas. Please don't send pictures to my DMs. I'm not going to tell you the release date for God of War either. But yeah, what's up, Pick a Trek? The source video is coming. I saw your comments earlier. Hopefully Tuesday. Apologies, I was working on this video, but the source video, you know what it's going to be about, and I want to make it magnifique. Punty, sup? Dodge Knight with a £4.49 super chat goes, evening. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Question for Asa: why are you so gorgeous?
It's not a question I'm going to entertain. Dodge comes to all of my shows and asks the same question, waiting for that answer. But... secret.
It's a secret. Okay.
The elixir that he was drinking, there's probably it.
Coffee is not a secret.
Is that coffee? Oh yeah, because you have this posh coffee, don't you? In this weird cup with. Have you got a coffee maker? Because that looks lovely. Whereas I've got this crappy Nestle and Nescafe thing. Never mind. I'm a peasant. Face 23, Brooklyn, New York. Thank you with the $20 super chat, man. Very generous of you. He says, people who say for Horizon Forbidden West got overshadowed by Elden Ring. Yeah. Something happened with Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild, and Horizon Zero Dawn went on to sell 20 million copies. I don't think the issue is about sales, Face. Then it doesn't take any way from the game. It's just in the conversation of Game of the Year contender, Horizon is both games have been. I haven't played the second one much, but they're critically acclaimed. It's just that it completely overshadowed as far as the Game of the Year discussion. And I think you'll be hard pressed to argue otherwise. But perhaps you can say so. You don't have to super chat. Just let me know in chat what you think about that, and I'll try and respond if I can manage it. Huggy Channy, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Goes, wait, Gaz didn't get enough sleep. Shocking. Yes, this time I'm running on 0 sleep. So, well, actually 1 hour sleep. That's a lie. So that's good, I guess. Danny Passion Official, thank you so much with the $2 super chat. Because Erica, love your content. Please keep a gas source.
Thank
Danny
you.
Passion Official.
Thank you. What did you say? Ereva at first?
Ereva, I apologize.
Erevut's for the win. I like
Erevut's for the win. And Purple Tree Frog, thank you for being a member, man. He goes, Horizon cultural impact both times were overshadowed by both games. That's what I'm alluding to, and you're absolutely right. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that, but really, I think that's the case.
Yeah, I also think Horizon, like the first Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn, I feel was a little different because back then, like open world games hadn't hit their like saturation point that they are at now. But now that they are, Horizon Forbidden West, it's a great game. Like I platinumed that game. I spent like 70 hours in it, loved it.
Oh, okay.
But it's just in my opinion, it is just now a basic open world game, a very beautiful one. Don't get me wrong. It's probably the most gorgeous open world game I've ever played, but it is a very by the numbers, like quest checklist. You know, that's what it is. And Elden Ring is something totally different. You know, Elden Ring actually pushed the open world genre forward. So, you know, I think that even if they had released far apart from one another, I still don't think that Forbidden West would be like any more in the Game of the Year discussion given that Elden Ring is a thing. You know, it's that's just my take on it.
That's a good point, and I do agree with you. I mean, yes, it could be Game of the Year contender, but when you peel away the fancy visuals, it is, I don't want to deride it, but it's by the books, almost Ubisoft formula type game.
Totally.
And Elden Ring, if you are going to compare it, what it surprised me was just how open, and it doesn't hold your hand. It's quite, even for, I say, a seasoned gamer like me, whatever, find it intimidating to the point where I don't know what to do in it. Erica can hold my hand and guide me through it, but
Good.
but then even that feels like a bit of a cop-out as co-op for me, because then the purists will come at me and say, you suck, guys, how dare you play this co-op.
There's some extremists out there. There's definitely some annoying From Software fans out there.
Yeah,
I don't claim them.
There are also some great ones though. The FromSoft community, I feel like, has both ends of the spectrum. It also has so supportive and lovely.
Yes, there's some great ones who are happy to help. I remember when I first started with like Bloodborne and stuff, and I felt very welcomed. And then I passed that on as well. I started doing my, here's how to do this, here's how to beat this boss, and here's some tips I did. They're out there, but yeah, you do have the spectrum. You have the annoying ones, and then you have the ones really down to help. So you're right on that. Mm-hmm.
I definitely noticed that. Like super helpful, like extremes, like really nice community and really toxic community. It's weird.
Yeah,
but no, it's fair enough.
They can
be.
I think because I was just gonna say, I think because like they struggled so hard at first, so when you start on a game like Elden Ring with all these like tricks you can do to make it easier, they feel a certain type of way. I think
like, how dare you, sacrilege, magic, how dare you use magic. Purist for you, but I don't understand why you'd be annoyed at someone else playing a game in a certain way. Maybe there may be argument there. I won't completely dismiss it. But speaking of toxicity and fads, this week has been a special week in terms of elevating gaming discourse and the gaming community's maturity. I love this stuff, so whatever. But basically, for those that don't know, God of War fans are very excited for the game. Very, very excited to the game. So excited that they can sustain an erection, presumably, when they take these pictures of their phalluses to send to developers in a bid to somehow induce them to release the game early or reveal the release date. That's what's actually been happening. And I kid you not, it was a employee or developer at Studio Santa Monica who tweeted, goes, listen, can you stop sending me dick pics? I will not tell you when the game is being released. To the point where Corey Barlog, publicly just frequented on Twitter, couldn't believe it and called it out. And then Phil Spencer also joined in on the whole thing. I don't know if it's linked or related to the erection.
This is allegedly, I'm just going to dispute that. Phil Spencer sent no such pictures to anybody at Sony Santa Monica. I'm confident.
No, when I said he got involved, I didn't mean that. No. Phil Spencer didn't send dick pics, but perhaps that would be enough to induce a release date. But there is a lot of pressure mounting. A lot of people are getting a little bit impatient, and I find that quite funny because I feel like, well, Erica, let me ask you. I mean, well, on the one hand, delay a game because a delayed game is Shigeru Miyamoto quote, and then you've got give me the release date now. And what's your take on it? Because you were in my DMs, not sending me dick pics because that'd be weird. Also, I presume you don't have a penis because you're pregnant. But what you were like? Are we talking about God of War?
Left. That went so left.
That could have gone pretty wrong. It might have already. I don't know in this day and age. What's your take on this whole thing, Eric?
I'm still trying to process what you just said right now.
Jeff Grubb is in the chat. Goes, a delayed erection is edging forever. Miyamoto.
Wow. Delayed erection.
This has gone pretty bad.
I mean, what's my take? I mean, of course, there's, the obvious. You want games to be finished. You want them to be polished. It's worth the wait most of the time.
Polished. I can't. Sorry.
Yeah, we're all the way left right now, you guys. Everybody listening, we are there. But yeah, I mean, that's especially coming from Miyamoto, right? That's a Nintendo, which is classic for that, delaying games, and when they're ready, they come out. So he if anyone's going to say that, it's him. But no, this God of War stuff is wild. It's wild. I saw the tweet from, I think, the developer, right? She's a developer.
Yeah.
And they were apparently, I don't know how many guys were doing this, but at least one is too much. They sent her a dick pic asking for the release date. So I think they thought it was a fair trade. Yeah. He must have been very confident.
This is going to go a little bit left, but I can I ask you, just generally, I never understood. Does any woman ever want to see a dick pic? I don't see that. As a guy, as a straight male, I can't see why a woman would want that.
I mean, I can see if
Alex sends it. That's different. I get it.
I know that's what you want to ask. I'm just like waiting for it. No, but I mean, if it's not wanted, if it's somebody who you don't have a romantic relationship with or anything like that, I mean. Yeah, no, we don't want that. There's a reason, like, my DMs are, you got to be a friend to DM me, because there's always that risk of, like, just weird people doing things. So, I mean, it's
a woman already, I think, on social media and gaming, it must be guys are thirsty out there, very thirsty out there when it comes to gaming. So you kind of need that. But I find the whole thing hilarious, although not hilarious. For me, it's hilarious, but for female, it's going to be disconcerting seeing this wide array of penises. Give me the release date. Here's my dick. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I've never had a situation where, like, just a rando just sent me something wild like that. But I could imagine it just throwing me off. Like, what? I would definitely have to talk about it. And of course, she made it known. She put it out there, like, this is happening. I would have probably did the same thing, like, hey, this just happened to me. And of course, you have Corey, you have the industry coming in and telling people to stop. And because it's just so crazy how far they're going. And and Phil Spencer included coming in and saying,
Phil Spencer included as in terms of not sending pics. Let's clarify that again, but calling that behavior out. Josh. Do you send? No, Josh. What do you think about this whole fiasco? I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, unless you're a psychopath, which we'll find out now when you answer this question. There's only one thing you can say, which is, frankly, this is just insane. But I would ask this: wouldn't it pushing that tweet out actually encourage more people to do that even more, potentially?
The tweet that
stop sending me dick pics.
It might. I mean, there's like just a bunch of idiotic people out there who might see that and be like, "Oh, that's a fun idea." But like, just treat it on. This will never happen. Well, I hope it happens, but it's like I wish people would treat online interactions the way they treat in-person interactions. Like, would you show someone your dick in person? No. So don't do it online. It's just a dumb thing to do, and it's disrespectful, and it's gross. Yeah. But I feel like these developers are just in a lose-lose situation. Like, if they announce a release date too early, then they delay their game and everybody's pissed. Like, it's almost inevitable these days. And clearly what Sony and Sony Santa Monica are trying to do right now is avoid that exact situation. Like, God of War it needs to be as good as it can possibly be before they release it. They're clearly trying to make it exactly that right now, and they don't want to announce the release date prematurely. So, I give them a lot of credit for doing that and sticking to their guns. And You know, it'll be ready when it's ready. It's a freaking video game. Like, yeah, I'm like gaming is like my life. I play games every single day. But there's so many games out there. It doesn't matter to me if God of War releases next month or next year. God of War could release in 2024. I will be just fine if that happens. You know, like there's plenty to play. And I really don't. Like maybe some like younger gamers. I remember when I was like a teenager and I got like my, you know, I was following certain video games and I'm like, man, I cannot wait to play this game, especially because like when you're younger, or maybe you're just on a budget, like you can only afford so many games and you put all your stock in one game when it comes out. Like I can kind of understand that. But if you say you have Game Pass, like you have this buffet of games, just play something else for a little while and chill, you know. So yeah, I do feel for these developers, and it sucks that people I do not understand like how you can think that sending an unsolicited photo of your dick is going to change anybody's course of action whatsoever. It's only going to make them be like, what the fuck is this? Stop it. So,
like, Blaze 4K in the chat, stop it.
Yeah. Oh man, called out.
And I wish there was like some automatic thing where people who did stupid stuff like that just got outed. I understand why someone at Sony Santa Monica probably doesn't want to out somebody like that. Like that only like creates probably more controversy. I just wish it was automatic. Like if you do something dumb like that, like people know who you are, people know what you did. Like I wish that would happen because
I think anonymity in the internet affords a lot of these fools the freedom to do these things. And sometimes I think you get rid of the anonymity, but at the same time, I don't trust corporations. So it's just like, well, it's a slippery slope there. Asa, as far as Argy's super chat is ridiculous. Thank you for that super chat because the story is a fallacy. Very, very clever. It's hard to imagine a private prick who will get a trickle of information. Still can't believe it isn't illegal to send unsolicited personal content like that. Brilliant, Argy, and it should be made illegal. In fact, I think that that falls under the realm of harassment. Speaking of harassment, Asa, yours harassment. What was that?
It's the cat feeder. It's the cat feeder. Sorry.
Your cat is such a terrorist. Asa, this whole thing, I don't know if you want to talk about fallacies and stuff, but generally about God of War and the release date. There seems to be mounting pressure on this because we're hearing conflicting things anyway. Jason Schreier is hearing from his sources that November is a given. Corey Balrog has said the game isn't delayed. I don't know what that means because the release date's been pushed forward. Is there a release date for it to be delayed? For him to say it's not delayed, can you shed some light on what's going on?
There's only one trustworthy insider in the whole of the industry, and he's in chat. Jeff, when is God of War coming out?
Yes, Jeff. I've said it before. I pushed the tweet out. I wasn't sucking your. I mean it in the space. And we talk about this in Green Room, right, Josh? Like, there's so many insiders like just get things wrong, and I'm kind of sick of it. And Jeff is one of the few who just took it in the neck, especially with the Kojima stuff, and he was right. So yeah, absolutely. And going on the back of that, not attacking anyone particular, although this is a good segue into it. Another, a blow to some insiders is not attacking anyone in particular, but Sucker Punch this week announced that Sly Cooper and Infamous are not being worked on at all. And Infamous I care about a little bit because I just played finished prototype and I thought that was brilliant. Completed and platinumed Infamous Second Son, which I thought had a lot of potential, but still lacking. But there's so much potential there. Are you a fan of these games, Erica? And which one, if you are, and are you disappointed that the games are not being worked on?
I'm actually not disappointed because I'm a Ghost fan and I want Ghost too. This is actually a Ghost shirt I'm wearing, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I didn't play Sly Cooper. I didn't play a lot of Infamous. I played a little bit, and it was cool. You know, I could see why people want the games. I mean, I'm not gonna like just come out here and laugh at them or anything, but I'm not particularly upset about this because I want a Ghost of Tsushima 2, and if that's where all their hands are, then I'm good with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. No, I just saw that a lot. Josh, are you a Sly or Infamous fan?
I've actually I played Second Son, and I wasn't too hot on it, but I know that's not the kind of the fan favorite. I think that would be Infamous 2, which I never played. I'm a little disappointed, and actually Sly Cooper's one that I'd like to see come back just because I'm a huge fan of stealth games, and I don't think there are enough stealth games out there. Even though that's kind of like stealth light. I'd still like to see it move forward, but this is just so like for me personally, like I mean, yeah, I'm a little bummed, but kind of like the God of War thing, like I'll live. There's plenty of stuff to play out there, particularly when it comes to open world games. But this is an interesting one because like you were talking about the rumors and the whole God of War disappointment, like kind of community wide in the gaming space came out of a rumor. I forget who it was who tweeted kind of like the June 30th. There was like a cryptic June 30th tweet, and that was a rumor. And apparently that was based on, according to Jason Schreier, I think that there was like a June 30th announcement set or something. But anyways, it seems like it's just getting more and more often we see these rumors that come from credible sources, you know, and sometimes they're true and sometimes they're not. But it's gotten to the point now where when I see like a tweet that's like rumor colon or like this statement, and then at the end it's like rumor, I'm just like, I kind of dismiss it because I've gotten, I don't want to say I've gotten burned, but I've been disappointed. Like one that was a big deal a while back was the whole Switch Pro. Like there were all even Bloomberg got in on that one. Like this, like this big news organization was reporting on the Switch Pro, and I was like, man, this seems like it's really going to happen. And then nothing. And then they came out with the Switch OLED. And it's not to say that this stuff wasn't based on facts behind the scenes. Maybe Nintendo is sitting on a Switch Pro. Who knows? But it is a bummer to like put stock in these rumors and then get disappointed. And I have a feeling, well, not I have a feeling, that's kind of what happened with this Sucker Punch thing. They just came out and squashed it. They're like, nope, none of these are true. So it's like, I just wonder, I'm not an insider. I don't have sources. Like, how does this work behind the scenes? Like, who do these people hear from? Like, what are they hearing that makes them put this out there as if it's like almost like a fact sometimes? And anyways, it's interesting.
It is interesting, and it's a very dark hole to go under because, you know, we have some sources. Often it's people through association. The Fable thing, I know someone who knows someone. But then when it becomes almost like Chinese whispers, they get lost in translation. Things get morphed over the period of time. Perhaps that's what's happened. Things also change. That's something people need to bear in mind. In this case, like, you know, you got to take things with a pinch of salt. But my next video, actually, it's about a title, I don't want to spoil it, where there seems to be pretty credible and substantial information on a very big game. And apparently that's legit. And it's a massive document on Reddit for this game, leaking details upon details. It will take me an hour just to read through a lot of it. And apparently, it's GTA 6. That's what I'll say. And I want to work on this video. And it's called, apparently the leak is real. And it's the Streisand effect. Like, it's gone to the point where denying it would almost ratify the truth. And it's like, that's kind of crazy. And it's like, and we've seen it time and time again. Big things have been leaked quite considerably. Fable, for instance, development by Playground Games, that was leaked ages ago. That game has been working on for 4 years, and the leaks about that rumors were abound almost a year, maybe 2 if I recall correctly, before the news actually broke. So yeah, it's a sad thing. Infamous Second Son, I gave it a 6 out of 10, but I appreciate what it's had a legacy. Sucker Punch realized their magic with Ghost of Tsushima, but Asa, you're not a fan of stealth games. You're not a fan of Ghosts. Were you a fan of Sly Cooper and Infamous? Are you sorry to see them go?
I'm literally buying Cuphead on the Xbox as we speak, so I was only half paying attention.
Yes. Yes.
So I actually, Infamous, I don't think Sucker Punch ever particularly executed that well on the concept, but it's such a natural, obvious concept that gamers as a group, if you can group people like that, it's just a pleasing concept that can work so well. And you can see a next gen one where you've got like powers in a city, sells itself. So I'm surprised that Sony aren't revisiting Infamous like in any capacity. Sly Cooper, less so. Like, I'd never heard of it until the rumors broke, and I've said loads and loads of times I don't care for the rumor scene. Like, never have done, never will do. There's certain people like Jeff Grubb, Jez Corden, people like that. They handle rumors and things with grace because they're not just spreading crap for popularity or whatever. They do know things, and they'll talk about them openly and honestly, and that's fine. That's one thing. I've never been a fan of just baseless speculation and all the rest of it. So
yeah,
the fact that this one fell through is like, I'm putting any stock in it anyway, so it's fine. If Sly Cooper came out, I've just learned today from Josh that apparently it used to be a stealth game, so yeah, I'm glad it's not coming out.
Sly Cooper was a game, I mean, cel-shaded or whatever. It was, just a platformer that I don't think it would have much utility today. Infamous, perhaps, but then you've got Spider-Man games worked by Insomniac, so it's like, is there any utility for an Infamous game? If anything, Xbox needs a superhero game like Infamous or Spider-Man. A superhero game would be, in my opinion, would do quite well. A lot of people are asking for that on Xbox. I think it would be good. This week, talk about putting your foot in your mouth. EA, that glorious organization that seems to have. Oh, you bought Cuphead. I saw that on screen. Congratulations. We can do co-op on that, Asa. Let's do a little thing. And with Erica, I wanted to do a let's play with you with Fall Guys as well, and Sarah Carlos.
That would be fun. Yeah. The thing with Cuphead, and I still can't believe they haven't done this, is online co-op. There's none.
There's none? Online co-op?
It's only couch. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
Wow. And that's the one thing that it really needs. It would be even better. Yeah.
Oh shit! That doesn't have a co-op online.
Yeah, trust me, I would be using it like crazy. But yeah, it does.
Oh, that's how many games these days have couch co-op but not online co-op?
Yeah.
And Steam has fake couch co-op. So it would be nice if some of the consoles like followed their lead on that. On Steam, if the game hasn't got co-op, you can fake having a player locally, and you can play it online co-op anyway. So if you're looking at the PC version, you probably can.
If it maybe if it has like remote play, because I know some games do that. Like I know, Streets of Rage and Ninja Turtles do that.
Oh yeah,
that's on Steam, and you could like essentially just buy one copy and then remote play. But I don't think Cuphead does it, unfortunately.
They missed a touch there, because I thought it was a given.
You would think.
I'm surprised. Hopefully they get that sorted, because
it's a weird thing though. I don't know what's so difficult about 2D games like this having online co-op, because Battletoads didn't have it at all. Streets of Rage and Turtles both have it, and it's problematic. Everyone's had loads of problems with Turtles, with invisible bosses and glitches and all the rest of it. So I don't know why it's so difficult. But
I saw that. It must be a latency thing or something going on. Yeah.
And then fighting games do that so much better than you think. That's less. The tolerance is even less on fighting games because you've got a competitive scene, whereas with co-op on a platform, it's 2D. It's a bit weird. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm very surprised by that, because I was thinking of doing a co-op session.
Yeah.
I wonder if that, like the hand-drawn aspect of it, because I remember back in the day, like fighting games, this was back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe fighting games on like the Dreamcast. Well, anyways, the 2D fighting games like Street Fighter Alpha 3 wouldn't run on home consoles as well, like because of I don't know why, the 2D hand-drawn graphics, but that was a thing. And Cuphead is
really
exactly that. But I guess when you look at Turtles, that's more like pixel art, so it might not.
Yeah.
Apply. Anyways,
it's interesting. I'm not sure. No clue.
Yeah, it's just weird, but hopefully they get that sorted. But EA, going back to them, EA really put their foot in their mouths, because there was this, when corporations do it, I just go, it was like this trend where, if she, or was it, but like if she or whatever is she's a 10, but she likes something controversial, or EA said she's a 10 or he's a 10, but they like single player games. That's what the tweet was, basically. Only like single player games, deriding perhaps single player games. And the irony is, you got Vince Zampella, who's working on Jedi Fallen Order with Respawn, which is owned by EA, and it's like, and he did a facepalm emoji. And what that started off was a trend of everyone, a lot of shit flinging, a lot of people pissed off, a lot of people, well, a lot of virtue signaling, like, oh no, how dare you, this is so bad. And so I think, who is it, Obsidian or someone like that, they were like, oh, single player games heart, multiplayer games heart, we all win heart. It's just like, I want to take that on board and say, hold on, let's have a conversation about single player games versus multiplayer games. I want to have actually a serious discussion about it, because I've had quite a lot of debates on this. A lot of the reason, in my opinion, why the Xbox versus PlayStation guys go head to head or at loggerheads is because the preferences are based on single player, whereas Xbox guys who have a legacy of playing on PC and Dreamcast are more multiplayer centric. And then what that has resulted in is a lot of animosity towards a genre. So some people are single player heads will just deride multiplayer games, like, oh, it's a multiplayer only game. But a single player only game doesn't get that flag. Or if it's a multiplayer only game, why is it? I see this with Battlefield, and it pisses me off. Oh, the Battlefield 4 is a bad example, but why is that multiplayer only in full price? Well, you weren't saying anything about any single player games. There are a myriad of them that you didn't give a shit about. So let's talk about single player versus multiplayer games. Which one is superior, if any at all, and what your preference is. Josh is shaking his head. Legacy of games.
Neither is superior. It depends on the player, like I play almost exclusively single player games, though that has changed recently in an interesting twist. But yeah, like neither is superior. Single player games are great for people who like those, and multiplayer games are awesome for people who like those. And I think it was kind of like maybe a misguided tweet, but it did spark like a discussion. And I think coming from EA in particular, it was kind of dumb because Fallen Order is, I think, the most well-received and maybe even the best-selling Star Wars game they made over their entire tenure of having the Star Wars license. I don't know if Battlefield 2 sold more, but I think that Fallen Order kind of proved that single-player games can, do incredibly well, and they're probably a safer bet than like trying to make a big multiplayer game as a service. That's such a risk these days. Like, so many of them crash and burn. Anyways, so it's kind of ironic at the very least coming from EA, but like I don't think there's I like single player games, and you know what? Like if so here's the thing. This is actually a funny story. Hell has frozen over in my world because I'm not only am I playing a multiplayer game, I'm playing Fortnite, which I never had an interest in. And relevant to this conversation, why I'm playing Fortnite? So like I'm a single dude. I met someone and they're like, hey, you want to play Fortnite? I was like, hell yeah, let's play. I wasn't like, ooh, that's a multiplayer game, or it's Fortnite. That's for casuals, whatever. I'm like, no, here's this person who wants to play a video game with me. That's awesome. So let's play, and sure enough, I'm actually kind of hooked on it. And it's fun. Like,
and soon he will realize multiplayer is superior.
And maybe I have thought, I'm like, ooh, I'm having fun playing this. Maybe I should give, Warzone a shot, which I've not had any interest in. But like, I just have this perception that I'm going to get into like a multiplayer shooter and just get my ass handed to me over and over again. I don't know.
Well, you're playing
Fortnite
Fortnite, and the skill cap is high. No matter how they may be young, a lot of the majority of the players, but these young kids with their, I sound so old. And I just said these young kids with their
these youngins.
Yeah, these hand-eye coordination, building fortresses.
Well, they have the no building mode now, though.
Well, that's what I'm playing, and it's like
exactly.
it's way less intimidating for sure.
Yeah.
But
poll, which I can't do because I don't have the powers to do that. But are you a multiplayer guy, a single player guy? No third option. Asa's going to be.
Yeah.
When Asa does the poll, I have no idea if it's going to be a serious poll or not. Erica, when I first came across your content, I know you're a mix of both, but I actually saw a lot of your Gears content. Playing PvP and ripping people to shreds with the Nasha, which means you're a cheating piece of. Everyone uses the Nasha.
That was a try-hard Gears head, yes.
Yeah. But you play everything. You're playing Cuphead, you play Soulsborne games, you play everything. And what would you say if we were going to try and look at both genres? And Josh has a very pragmatic and sensible approach in saying, look, it's based on preference. But if we look at the relative complexity of the game, what it means, I have a take on it. Let me hear your take on it first. What are your take on it? Because I think mine might be slightly controversial, and not for the sake of being controversial. I do have a strong view.
You have some sauce on this. Okay, I'll leave the sauce for you. No, yeah, I mean, like he was saying, yeah, it's a preference thing. I do know gamers and friends who do prefer multiplayer. Like they just want to play shooters. They want to be dude bros and shoot everything with a team. And I go through phases of that. I really did on the 360 because obviously Gears, Call of Duty, when it was good, stuff like that, Battlefield. But over time, I eventually just went back to single player games as my main when it comes to gaming, because these multiplayer games sometimes just don't have long legs, or they put out a version that is not as good. You know, you have Battlefield 2042 that was just a disaster at launch, and as a Battlefield fan, that really hurt. And I just was like kind of at my end, even with Gears too. I stopped playing Gears because there was just so many issues with it, and it was frustrating to me. I get more frustrated with PvP stuff because there's lag, or there's bad hit detection, or cheaters, or the other team is just annoying. Like Halo, I get very annoyed on Halo. I'm like, I hate these other teams. No, but so single player is more of like a personal one-on-one thing. It's like it's different, and I like that I could always fall back on single player. That's probably my I guess I would say superior right now, because they're always there, and they don't change for the most part, unless there's a patch or something. But for the most part, it's like you never run out of stuff. Multiplayer, there's times where it's like a drought, or like these games just are not hitting, and I'm not having fun.
You don't run out of stuff, but single player games are derided as one and done games. You do run out.
They can be, they can.
But they are by design, unless you want to play The Last of Us 17 times. Like there's not much scope. Whereas a multiplayer game, two multiplayer games generally won't be the same.
I get what you're saying. There's truth to that. You're right. You're absolutely right. Especially if you love the game and you love the gunplay or whatever kind of game you're playing. Yes, you can play that for days and months and years, like I used to do. I think just where I'm at right now, they're just not really hitting for me. And so what I mean
you're right. What's come out this generation that's a big banger that has multiplayer? Maybe Forza, that's good, but Halo Infinite didn't really bang. But as far as the big Elden Ring, although that's got co-op element to it and a PvP, but it's
if that counts, multiplayer co-op stuff. I mean, you could play that. That gives replayability for sure. What I mean though is like there's so much to do is because there's so many single player games, and if you're into different genres, you can hop around like crazy. Like me, I'm a streamer, so I recently went back to Bloodborne. I was playing that again. Here I am back on Cuphead now. I played Ninja Turtles. That was a multiplayer experience. So I'm just kind of all over the place. Like there's always something to,
I'm with you. I completely
you know?
understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that, and that's what realistically it pans out to being that. But I will say this: as far as I will give a developer more kudos for getting a multiplayer game right than a single player game, depending on the scope of the game. Obviously, each game is different, because I think multiplayer is way harder to get right, especially in this saturated market, because you have to contend with latency. Also, multiplayer games, typically, I've been a massive Quake 3 fan. It tests your mettle. You're fighting other humans. You are outsmarting some considerably talented, a whole breadth of different players. There's a massive sense of achievement. And even in today's games, subject to maybe perhaps a very handful of exceptions, single player games haven't really evolved that much. But principally, artificial intelligence in gaming is rubbish. You like The Last of Us? Do you think that's amazing in the top of the realm, God of War or Ghost of Tsushima? Have you actually thought about or experienced the AI in that game? It's actually immersion breaking, because single player games will...
Time out, guys. Why are we just listing Sony games for this right now?
Because Xbox hasn't got any good single player games. What do you want me to list?
What are you coming out of Sony right now?
Gears of War. I mean, Gears of War, you can say the locusts are stupid, but like the single player games are on PlayStation. But generally, generally, Gears of War. There's no good single player Xbox game. I don't even know what to think. Halo is thank you for that. Halo's AI probably stands head and shoulders above a lot of other games because its AI is believable, not perfect, but still believable, reactive, conversationally, even those little touches there, but AI still isn't there. But Halo's CE still embarrasses a lot of single player games with AI. Generally, bringing back on the multiplayer to single player discussion, I just think multiplayer games generally, if they've done well, are superior, because the developer has to make it fresh, refreshing, deal with latency, which is still a problem that needs to be resolved. And you're testing other people. 90% of my games are multiplayer. It's just because I have a proper sense of achievement. You're going one-on-one with someone else. Until AI gets to a point where I can take it seriously, then not. Elden Ring is a great example, CW, because Elden Ring, you're immersed into it by virtue of the fact that the AI is shit there as well, by the way. You can kill people around the place, and they'll walk over a dead body, not see anything, by the way. There's that. But what benefits Elden Ring is just a vast array of attacks that each enemy has. That's a kind of a mechanic there, but still, there's a lot to talk about. Asa, you've been sitting there quietly buying games. So let me save your wallet from doing some damage. What's your take on games? Because your games, you've got Poster there, you've got Final Fantasy single player, you've got Skyrim that's single player, but you're also a Quake fanatic, which is why I love you. And you're a multiplayer guy as well, although he's not terribly good at multiplayer games. Asa, hi. What's your take on it? Is it just a question of preference? Are we not allowed, or is it something prohibiting us from discussing this in any meaningful way as far as single player and multiplayer is concerned, and the superiority of one over the other?
Oh, there's so much that's there. I'm going to ignore your question and go back to EA. I will go through it. I'll go through the things that we've been talking about. So first of all, like EA's tweet, right? Perfect 10 or whatever, but only like single player games. They were jumping on a trend and trying to talk up the joys of playing multiplayer games with somebody else. But they're EA, so nobody should take brand accounts too seriously, right? Brand accounts are they're a face and they're horrible. But EA in particular, their brand account walks on eggshells because EA are a popular target to hate. And the whole single player thing it gets very much tied in with the games as a service thing and loot boxes and all the rest of it and all the things that EA have been criticized for years. So whoever wrote that had no awareness of the company that they work for and represent. It was just a mistake, right? Somebody else might have got away with that tweet just fine, but not EA. What is good AI is actually a topic I could probably talk about for about 3 hours, so I won't go into it too much, but just it's quite interesting to think when you're talking about single player games and what has good AI. People think they want AI to be believable and human. Nobody would play a single player game where all of the enemy characters are as smart as a human, because
Why?
it would be too much. Most people would flunk horribly. Like a single player game, you want good AI isn't tough necessarily.
I would love it.
So, and a good example of it is Perfect Dark, right? Perfect Dark on the N64.
Everyone is stupid.
No, but what makes good AI is an
trash.
interesting conversation, right? So Perfect Dark on the N64, you could set the AI to have 100% accuracy and 100% instant shot when they've got line of sight. Hardest AI that you can have in a game, because as soon as they've got line of sight on you, you're dead. It's not good AI. It's massively simplistic. So what makes good AI isn't toughness, it's believability, which you sort of touched on anyway. And that's where Halo does well, because the AI is not necessarily really tough in Halo, but it's fairly convincing, and it doesn't pull you out in the way that Ellie running in front of your sniper rifle would in the first Last of Us game or whatever else. So AI is a complicated topic, and there is room for improvement, but it's not necessarily about making it as hard as playing against real people in a multiplayer game. That's where the comparison kind of falls over for me, because you don't want to be playing against an army of people that are potentially better than you to get through a single player game. Multiplayer is different. You want that challenge because you're against real people and it's a fair contest.
It's also situational, though. I don't want to, not a like-for-like comparison of outwitting someone in multiplayer, but if in a situational game where, play Last of Us, for instance, you're coming up across an enemy camp. There are multiple enemies there, but perhaps they're inebriated or they have low line of sight. You've got advantage. I think it will there's always going to be a balancing issue, but I think the believability, we're so far behind. If you play Ghost of Tsushima, and I was doing an escort mission, and my guys were bumping into the enemies, and the enemy was actually just moving away and just carried on because it was I'm like, yo, what's going on? And that's still stuck in my head. I know exactly where that happened, and it put a damper in me. You might think that's weird, chat might think that's weird, but that kind of thing pulls me away. If single player's allure is immersion and the stories you tell, not every single player game relies on AI like that to tell its story, then that immersion breaking thing will immediately it's something that needs to change. I don't just wholly play single player. I'm not trying to shit on PlayStation exclusives. There's not an angle to shit on PlayStation exclusives. It's true. I'm not. People are like, oh, you just found a way to shit on PlayStation exclusives because he thinks AI needs to be super like Skynet. That's not the case. Generally, just pull it back. Forget the AI discussion.
No, because I'm still talking about that. So, because I've not gone to the single player and multiplayer game. Yeah, that's next. But there is this profound question in chat from myself. I'll take credit for it. But if AI teabags you, is that sexual harassment? It's a computer. So
are we going to talk about that today?
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get there. But first, we're still on single player versus multiplayer.
Yeah.
Very, very
If it's an
quickly.
EA game, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, to the courts. Single player versus multiplayer. I think it should be fairly obvious that there's not like an absolute right or wrong answer. Everyone's entitled to their own preferences. You can sit there and play a mobile game if you want. You can play a single player roguelike that's made to be replayed 1,000 times if you like. I don't particularly like roguelikes, but some people do. Personally, I couldn't do without one or the other. I play a lot of single player games and I play a lot of multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I really
Can I
couldn't
say
pick a
something
preference.
too?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done. Let me bail Gaz out a little bit. Maybe you're coming up with the Sony games because we're so used to seeing it as like immersive, story-driven, realistic, right? Last of Us, realistic. You're probably expecting the AI to look realistic or perform realistic, whereas like a game like Elden Ring is more about like patterns. It's like the same. They're doing the same thing every single time, and you just got to get in there and learn the patterns, and then you get through. And we're not as critical. Like I don't think I don't think I've really seen any from software, like some of the community complaining about the AI in those games.
No,
It's
I don't
just
think
different.
so.
So it depends on the game, obviously.
I don't think generally people don't complain about AI generally. This is not a PlayStation thing, by the way. It's every single player game, even down to Half-Life, even down to, any Xbox single player game that you can think of worth its salt. Gears, I guess. Yeah, definitely. It's the same thing. Just generally, it's not based on just I use PlayStation because that's PlayStation stands at top.
The standards are like
for single player games. I mean, what comes close on Xbox too? Very little comes close on Xbox, if at all. PlayStation's there. Nintendo's slightly different, and Nintendo has those games don't be heavily reliant, or their immersion isn't relying on the AI. Although in Zelda, Breath of the Wild, I thought the AI was amazing. You'd knock their weapon out, they'll pick up something. I mean, it depends on what it's adequate enough. Asa, you reminded me of a tweet. Just so people in chat, if you don't know, someone tweeted today, earlier this week, and got quite a fair few likes for saying this and replying to someone, I don't know what it was. They're saying, imagine saying you won a round, it's okay to teabag someone's corpse. If you don't know, that's basically crouching down and up, and the teabag name gives away the idea of what that is. It's not okay to teabag unless you get express consent from everyone, including those who would watch it. It's sexual harassment. #Valorant, a game where you kill other people. Erica, do I need your consent to teabag you? And I know Alex doesn't. Why do I need it?
Listen, Alex is an exception. No, yeah, absolutely. You need my consent. I need you to message me first as I lie there dead. Message me, ask me politely. And then if I say yes, you can teabag me. And by the time that transaction happens, you're already on to the next, I'm on to the next respawn. No, that's ridiculous. I saw that tweet. I'm going to talk about it later on my podcast too, because I'm like, we have to talk about this. This is so crazy. Because I tweeted this too. My first ever teabag was on Gears 2, which you can't really go up and down. You just kind of like shuffle. Yeah, you shuffle on their body, and I saw everyone else doing it to me or to other people. So I was like, I'm going to do that back. And I did, and I thought it was funny. I didn't think anything of it. And here we are, I don't know how many years later, 13 years later or something. And I'm seeing tweets like this. I'm just like, what? Because the problem with the tweet like that is that it kind of
fully serious, by the way. The person was serious.
Yeah, they're fully serious about something that is not sexual harassment. It's not. And it's demeaning what really is, because there's really sexual harassment going on out there. I mean, there's the voice chats, there's people coming at women and being sexist.
Dick pics for game releases.
Dick pics, yes, and things like that. That is where the harassment is true. So when you say something as little as this, it's just kind of like,
that's a good point.
It's not a good look, and it trivializes the whole thing as a whole.
That's
and
a great point.
It's not good. So. Yeah, I think she ended up making her Twitter private because she was getting so much flack for it, which was deserved. I hope nobody harassed her or anything like that. But as far as that conversation, yeah, she needed to get some feedback, because that was a bad take. It was bad.
It is a bad take. There is perhaps, Josh, a question to be asked in the future as game worlds get immersive and Acer's VR features realized and we are in the metaverse. What if someone in the virtual world teabags you and it's like you're feeling it? Is that bad?
You feel vibration? Do you feel vibration or what?
Maybe in your headset. Ready Player One.
I saw there was an episode, I think it was Kind of Funny Games Daily, like a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, that covered a story where a VR company is researching technology that will allow you to feel sensations in your mouth as you're playing VR. Now, if that's the case, if someone teabags you, maybe then there's a conversation to be had. But no, when I saw you retweeted this woman's tweet, and my response to it was, I think when you play these games, you are providing consent to be teabagged. That's kind of my outlook. It is. I can see, like, if you're brand new to gaming, like you've never played a video game, you get in there, you get killed instantly, and then this person like squats up and down on your face. I can see that being kind of shocking. You're like, whoa, what is this? But it's like, that is gaming culture. Like, teabagging is part of gaming culture, for better or worse. It's here, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not harassment. It's harmless. It's funny to someone, but if that offends you, then you should not be playing multiplayer shooters, because
you should not be on the internet at all.
You shouldn't be on the internet. And it's funny because I don't know where there is a line between that and then like verbally, calling someone names on mic. If you do that, there is a line to be drawn where one of those is harassment and the other isn't. I'm not really sure where that line is, but it's there. So it's kind of an interesting
point.
topic.
There is all the things that you mentioned, Erica. That is, that's harassment. Sexual or otherwise.
So, Josh, I'm glad you brought that up, that there is a line there, because you said two things there. One of them, you said, that, like, there is a line somewhere. You also said that it's part of online culture. And one of the things that I've seen going around as a consequence of this is a lot of people saying, like, no, it's online play. You sign up to whatever you get because it's online play and it's okay. And people are going to say this, that, and the other. And that's pretending that there isn't a line, and that's too far, because, like, gaming communities can be pretty toxic and pretty horrible, and there's no reason to say like that's how it should be. Everyone should be fine with that. Don't complain if you're being like racially abused in a Call of Duty lobby. It's fine. That's an online game. Get used to it. You shouldn't be here if you don't like it. That's wrong. Like, gaming and communities need to get better, but teabagging isn't it. Like Erica said, that kind of degrades real problems.
It does. Because I'm losing my train of thought, but I agree with you on that, because the one thing I do see as like a comeback for this stuff is like, oh, you guys would never have lasted in the 360 era, because it was so bad back then, and they wear it as a badge of honor. Like, oh, we heard worse, you guys would never last. You would never survive. And it was bad back then, too. We shouldn't be condoning that. There was racism, sexism. I got enough of that.
That'd be pretty bad.
And there still is.
But back then, to me, it was so new and fresh. And I do feel like it made me tougher because I was able to be witty back to them and get them back. And I apologize, my cat's crying.
That's so good.
She's getting me prepared. She's so prepared for a baby. But anyways, so back then I didn't realize, this is toxic. This is not right. This isn't good. Now it's been years later, and it's like I realize in retrospect that was not good either. So we can't really, there is a line. We're all agreeing with that. There's a line, and the teabagging is definitely not crossing it. There's way more problems, way more.
Well, we've got some interesting comments. Before that, Hoggy, thank you so much for the super chat, and also giving away 2,200 Halo credits, because we all know Halo is now a pay-to-win game. I was joking. Thank you so much for that. It's very nice of you. And another code for a single Skyrim anniversary US code. If you do claim it, please let us know. It'd be nice to know who got it. Thank you so much, Hoggy, the most generous person on the planet in the gaming community. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the $2 because, guys, have you got any pictures asking for your real birthday? I haven't got any pictures yet. Thank you. Please don't send me dick pics. That would not be nice. And Dorian Gray.
Have you said exactly when your birthday is? Or no? It's just a secret.
It's just a secret. Dan Lazaro says, real teabagging is without pants. That's great. That's what I needed. An image of you with your moody face teabagging without any clothes on. Dorian Gray. So now we said there's a line to be drawn. And it's quite interesting. He says, I play multiplayer more now because I just want to veg out and have fun. Single player has too much emotional baggage these days with people's identities and sensitivities. Oh, he's talking about the whole culture. There's a discussion to be had, and there's a serious one, because it's one you can't have, or it feels like you can't have, that's going to be reserved for another show, and a real one, because we have a mixed view on this. Corporations as well. Asa probably left-leaning, I'm more middle-leaning, and we have these conversations personally in WhatsApp groups all the time, and it's a great conversation to have. It's important. We don't just shy away from them because we're scared of cancel culture. We don't harbor views that I personally believe. I don't know. You'll be the judge of that, whether it's cancel worthy or not. But as far as this question is concerned and the line to be drawn, Erica, I wear that COD Modern Warfare 2 lobby as a badge of honor. It was bad. It was bad. Like, we all got involved. I had a friend who's Iranian, and he Persian Knight or something, and he had to change his name because everyone's just like, you can imagine, if you're a Muslim post 9/11 online, like me, they wouldn't know I am. It was pretty bad, but it's not like we sat and cried about it. I'm not saying this is a view you should adopt, but it made us thick skinned. There we fought.
It did.
Back.
Yeah, it did. I think it did for me personally. Yeah, because I liked it. I like to clap back. I loved, especially when they came at me with like sexism, I would just do my best to emasculate them back. That was kind of like my thing. And to make them upset and to kind of kill with kindness at the same time.
Or beat the shit out of them in the game and then really shit on them.
Or, it would motivate me to beat them. Yeah, it would motivate me to prove them wrong. And that was kind of my drive then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, I remember just not even saying a thing, and my team would be fighting with the other team. And then once I said something, oh, she's not going to F you, bro. And, you would get stuff like that. And I'd literally be playing with my cousins. And if my cousins backed me up, they would tell them that. And my cousins, we would just be like, oh my gosh, like, we're cousins. We heard it all. I heard it all, especially with Gears. Dude, Gears was toxic. It still is.
I mean, all online games are toxic, and I've seen some really toxic people. I will say, I know what it's like to be a woman online, because when Mortal Kombat 9 came out, I made a female avatar, changed my gamer pick to a chick, the gamer chick, and made it, like whatever, bio-wise, and I could do a really good female voice as well. And I got a lot of all kinds of madness, but I loved it because I was beating the shit out of everyone with Liu Kang. Liu Kang. Beat the shit. No, Kung Lao. Sorry, what am I talking about? Kung Lao, Mortal Kombat 9. I was in the ranked lobbies. I was killing it. And those some raw messages. There's so many thirsty guys that are like, oh yeah, you're so good. Oh yeah, whatever. When my friends came around, I pretended to be girls. They were party chat. This is the time where you could actually play party chat through your TV. Can you do that now? I don't even know anymore. And I was doing my female voice and like, hey, how you doing? And the whole lobby was just simping for me hard as I beat the shit out of everyone. Yeah. It's a different time now, and gaming is getting more mature. The society is having these conversations about, what's harassment and whatnot. And I find it funny. I think Asa and all of you mentioned there is a line. We should be careful. We're matured now. Some of the stuff we said back then, you cannot say now. And I'm glad. Even I'd balk at if I heard myself say some stuff. We all said dumb stuff. Mm-hmm. But gaming is maturing more. And there's going to be a balancing act. You'll get overcorrection in some things, and then things will normalize, hopefully. But it's interesting to observe. But I will say that is such a stupid fucking tweet about teabagging's harassment. How dare you try and impose that standard on everyone? How stupid is it logistically? Like Erica, you mentioned, can I get your consent to? How do you even ask that question? It's so stupid.
And then the way she called it over my corpse. The way she said it like that too. It's like, this is not real, And then where does it?
People in the game. You're killing people. What's worse? Dipping your thing in. Well, actually, I think rape is worse, but still, there's a lot to be had. I guess there's always more conversation. There's more nuance to things. I've talked about teabag quite a bit, haven't I?
Yeah, we are on it. Because I was about to say, like, where does it end? Let's say we all adopt this thinking for the majority of us. Like, oh yeah, this really is bad. Where does it stop? Because you have emotes, dancing, right? You got Fortnite, you can like dance on them and do moves or whatever. So is that considered if it's like a sexual kind of move? Is that
Yeah.
harassment, or where do you draw the line after that? You open up a can of worms that just, it's a slippery slope thing, and it's
That the thing.
I say going back to Asa's point, we don't want realistic AI. Gamers don't, because if it was realistic, all the AIs would teabag us.
Yeah. Then you'd really feel it and like, oh damn, that guy's going to town on my corpse. That sounds weird. But yeah,
that does not sound right.
Yeah, that does not sound right. That sounds pretty bad. Hoggy, thank you again for 2 codes. He gave 2 single player codes for Skyrim Anniversary and Fallout 4 Game of the Year bundle for European codes. So shout out to him, man. That's crazy. You're crazy. But yeah, I mean, we're finding that in everything. And it's interesting to observe. I think it's all, I won't go too much into it today, but it's been, I've run out of things to talk about. We talked, the teabag thing kind of came out of left field, but that's this whole chat. We made it work. Didn't we make it interesting? We talked about teabag. We talked about AI. We all agreed that multiplayer is superior. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you. If you did enjoy the show, please hit the like button. Before we go, guests, you are lovely content creators, very diverse in the type of content you create, and been, for me and Asa, and I don't just say this because I'm on the show, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you. Could talk for hours. Josh, aka Quest Mode Games, I know you've been taking a little break from content creation, but you want to come back to it soon. Tell the lovely people what's in store for them and what. I hope you enjoyed the time.
Yeah, no, it was great to be here. Loved being on the show. You can find me on YouTube. I'm just youtube.com/questmode. Questmode is the name of my channel. I'm on Twitter @questmodegames. And on YouTube, my last video was a really in-depth preview of Forspoken, but that was now going on like 6 weeks ago. So it's been a while since I've posted. That said, I am hard at work on my next video, which is going to be a similar video for Starfield. So I'm going to just kind of wrangle all the content that's out there about Starfield, including, not just the stuff that they recently showed off for, Summer Game Fest, but all the previous information that was out there. There's actually quite a bit. And so I'm just going to wrangle all that content, put it into one big preview. So if that's something that you're interested in, check out my channel. I've also got previews up for like Gotham Knights, Saints Row, Hellblade 2. So if any of those games,
and it has to be said, by the way, the previews of Josh are pretty mad. See how in depth they are. It's why you got so many subs. But check out his previews. That Starfield one, I'm very excited about, because I know that's going to be madly detailed. You got to go into the Matrix.
It's going to take me some time, but I do really enjoy putting a lot of polish onto my previews. So I appreciate that comment, Gaz. Much appreciated. So check me out if that sounds interesting. And thanks for having me on the show, guys. Both Asa, Gaz, it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for coming on. And do check out his content and the previews. That they are super detailed and really well done. Last but certainly not least, it is Eric Cuts for the win. It's always a pleasure. It's like I told you from the day one show, if we could make you a permanent team member, we would. But then Blaze and Alex would probably kill me.
Blaze
has a hold on you. He's always there. He never comes to chat until you're there.
Wow, Blaze. I didn't know.
And where's my invite? Where's Solid Rev? What's going on?
Solid Cast, great show. Shout out to Blaze and Rev. They're just not consistent. I think they've missed a couple of weeks. I'm like, where's Solid Cast?
Yeah, they need to be consistent.
My outro, I guess. Somebody in the chat, Gaz, we did kind of just gaze, or I don't know the word. We went over this quick about you pretending to be a girl gamer. You're out here catfishing.
I was catfishing online. I had a full-on internet sex change, but my voice is so gone from the partying night out. I can't do my female voice now, but it's really good.
We just rolled over that really fast. Yeah, we're like, wait a minute. We should talk more about that.
I've thought about doing that on Twitter just to see what it feels like to be like a girl gamer.
Oh my god, it's like
a woman
bukkake.
gamer
Just type
on
bukkake
Twitter.
in
Like,
Google. That's what you'll be.
but
there are some catfish running around out there. You guys got to be careful, okay? You got to be careful. They're
There are, as we found out
it's a
recently.
thing. It's a thing, and they're coming for that money. So be careful, everybody. No, but yeah, it is pretty. As an actual, I guess, female gamer, yeah, it is kind of interesting at times. The dynamics are different, I'm sure, from you guys. But a great time as always. I love being here. Short and sweet show, which is nice. I kind of do the same thing every other Saturday. I have a show called The Backlog, which is tonight, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, and we talk like this. I have another friend that's my co-host, and then we have guests on and we talk games, and then we kind of go off the rails too. So if you guys are interested in a podcast like that, more like female perspective and as a host, you can definitely check me out on my YouTube. That's where the podcast is, and it's also on Spotify, iTunes. Just look up at The Backlog with Erica and Shar. You'll find us. And yeah, I stream on Twitch. Just Erica's for the win. Basically, Google that or just search it. You'll find me. You'll find me. Yeah, thank you. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you for being here, and shout out to Peter Morland for saying top show, teabagging, and clam slam. What's that? Awesome. Thank you.
We
so
didn't
much
talk
for
about the clam slam. It's basically the female teabag.
Oh my god!
It's the female teabag, just so everyone knows. Now you learned something today. Yeah.
Oh, clams! That's horrible. Thanks for that, Peter. Thank you for that. Omar, you're not being catfished, hopefully, but yes. Suddenly, so everything about Gaz makes sense now. Someone says, "I'm a troll." That's all it is. Please. And Hoggy messaged me because don't forget Asa's outro. Shout out to Hoggy. Asa, have you ever been a woman online and pretended to be a woman online?
Good question.
I can assure you that I have never been. No, I'm very honest. You throw me off completely with that as my outro. So
wait,
Josh,
Asa, have you ever clam slammed? We need to know. The chat needs to know.
I've never teabagged or clam slammed. That's not true. I'm a bit strange. I teabag enemies in like Ghost of Tsushima or an offline game just to like be like, yeah, I'm doing gaming. I'm a real gamer. But I've never done it online. I'm too respectful. Plus, I normally lose. And rage quit out of the game before anyone can do it to me. No, so Erica and Josh, they both do like really good content across all of the channels that have been linked. So if you haven't already, as soon as this show is done, like follow those links through. Make sure you're subscribing and following everything they do, because definitely it is good stuff. They are worthwhile people to follow. I am still doing my own solo rambling show on a Thursday on YouTube on my channel, and I'm also back to streaming games on Twitch as well fairly frequently. So if you want to hear more of what I've got to say, it's actually quite a lot. You might not think it from my being quiet on this show, but plenty to say. So catch me there, and thanks everyone for today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you do listen there, leave a review. I think that helps us. I don't know if anyone's reviewed us. If you did enjoy the show, please hit the like button on the way out. It helps us a lot, and we have a lot more content coming. So thank you so much, all of you, for making this an exciting show. You don't need to have a heavy news week, clearly, to have a good time. Thank you all, everyone. Thank you, both guests, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Take care. Peace out.